Corey LaJoie finally announces his 2021 plans, and there's a lot more to them than initially meets the eye. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove. One of the final players in this year's Cup Series Silly season has finally announced their plans for next season. We're going to talk all about Corey LaJoie's announcement tonight, but first, if you missed it earlier today, as a matter of fact, I posted a slightly different video this afternoon where I looked at both the movie Cars and the movie Talladega Nights, both released in 2006, and I discussed which of them is the better NASCAR-themed movie. If you missed that video, go check it out. Something a little bit different. Figured I'd give it a shot. But tonight we're back in business, talking news, talking current events, and as per usual, talking silly season. So Corey LaJoie announced tonight that he will move to Spire Motorsports next season and will drive the number 7 car full time. It's a multi-year deal for Corey LaJoie. According to Dustin Albino with Front Stretch, it's a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option. This is the first multi-year contract Corey LaJoie has had in his Cup Series career. And yes, I did say the number 7. Spire Motorsports bought up many of Levine Family Racing's assets earlier this summer. The sale was actually finalized today, reportedly, which is likely why they delayed this Corey LaJoie announcement. Spire bought their charter, so they will field 2 full-time cars next season, the number 7 and the number 77. The driver of the number 77 has not yet been announced, or drivers. There's rumors it could be multiple drivers running part-time in that car, but Corey LaJoie will drive the 7. The team got permission from Tommy Baldwin to run that number, and one of the things they bought from Levine Family Racing is the race shop. So Spire Motorsports, for the first time in their relatively young history, will be moving into their own race shop next season. And interestingly enough, it is the same race shop that was used by 1992 series champion Alan Kulwicki, who was of course famous for driving the number 7 car. In tonight's announcement, the Spire owners acknowledged that running the number 7 next year is a nod to Alan Kulwicki and Jeff Bodine, who took over the number 7 after Kulwicki, of course. Team co-owner TJ Pukier, I don't know how to say his last name, had this to say: Alan had a unique way about him and took a very unconventional route to winning a championship. Everyone knows the story. He didn't have a ton of money and did more with so much less than many of the most well-heeled teams of that day. We see a lot of parallels between Spire Motorsports and Alan's approach. Spire Motorsports is only a couple years old, but Spire has been around NASCAR longer than that. Spire is more than just a race team. They also manage and represent drivers as clients. And next year, they're even promoting a race. I believe they're promoting the Knoxville Truck Series race, if I'm not mistaken. Spire does it all, but they've dove into the team ownership aspect of things the last couple of years, and next year they're poised to take a pretty big step forward. Of course, moving into your own race shop, that's step 1. Expanding to a 2-car operation's pretty big. A new driver with Corey LaJoie is also notable. But let's talk about what this means for Corey LaJoie.
The news has broke. I will be driving the number 7 Chevy Camaro for Spire Motorsports in 2021 and beyond. I'm super pumped up. It's going to be the best motors, the best cars I've ever had. Working with a good group, building something good here. Thanks for all the fans for sticking around and helping me stack some pennies.
LaJoie says it right there. This is going to be the best motor, the best car he's ever driven. Is he right about that? Well, if you look at Corey LaJoie's full-time Cup career to this point, he spent the last 2 years with Go Fast Racing, a team that improved in their performance last year, but suffered once again from many mechanical failures. It was a lesser-funded team that was rarely capable of running inside the top 25. Corey LaJoie, on a number of occasions, seemed to get the most out of that race car. But now if we look at Spire, and I know the name Spire alone is not going to turn a whole lot of heads based on their recent performance, the team has their eyes set on 2022 and beyond. With the next gen car set to be introduced, that's going to completely change the way business is done in NASCAR. It's going to completely change what it looks like to own a competitive Cup Series team, and that's what Jeff Dickerson and TJ however you say his last name, that's what they're banking on. But they're taking a big step forward next year by moving into their own building, and according to multiple reports, they have a deal in place to get race cars from Chip Ganassi Racing and engines from Hendrick Motorsports next season. It's still a small team, it's still a new team with a lot of new pieces being added to the puzzle, but that news by itself makes me think that Spire cars next year are going to be a little bit better than what Corey LaJoie's been driving the last 2 years. So if you're a Corey LaJoie fan, if you've been stacking pennies with him along the way, it certainly looks looks like the number 7 car is going to be an upgrade over what LaJoie's been driving the last several years. Jeff Gluck from The Athletic put out a really good article. He spoke to not only the team owners of Spire Motorsports, but he also spoke to Corey LaJoie recently, and they all shed some light as to how this deal came together. The two sides first began conversations late in the summer. Apparently they hit it off right away, and both sides were extremely excited about working together. Corey LaJoie talks about having multiple other opportunities to race in the Cup Series, but he really believed in what Spire Motorsports is trying to build. This is from Corey LaJoie in that Athletic article. People will look at this move from the outside and think it's a downgrade just due to the way a Spire entry has run in the Cup Series the last couple of years. But I turned down multiple opportunities because I believe in the vision Jeff and TJ have for their company. It looks as though we're going to have an opportunity to go race and compete for top 20s for the first time in my entire NASCAR National Series career. Jeff Gluck also reports that Corey LaJoie is bringing sponsorship from Schluter Systems, Built Bar, and Dryden. All of those have been partners with him during his Go Fast tenure, but he's bringing them over to the new Spire Motorsports entry. Listening to everything Corey LaJoie has said tonight regarding this announcement, he sounds genuinely excited about next year. And having followed Corey LaJoie the last couple seasons, that's not something I can say I've heard before. I don't think this car next year is truly going to be a playoff contender. I think at certain tracks, they might be in contention for a win here or there. Super speedways, of course, but even maybe some short tracks that Corey LaJoie has shown strength at in the past. You just never know. These Cup races get crazier and crazier every year, it feels like. But I do expect Corey LaJoie to put up career high numbers next season pretty much across the board. It really sounds like Spire Motorsports is taking a big step forward next year and is truly going to be more competitive. You know, they've worked with like Chip Ganassi Racing a couple times here in the past. Usually when like Ross Chastain would step into the car for some big races, they would help field an entry for him. But now that they're going to be leveraging Ganassi and Hendrick engines for a full season, I think this is a team that will surprise people next year. The question is Corey LaJoie the right driver? I'm sure some of you guys are asking that question. Hey, Spire Motorsports owner Jeff Dickerson called Corey LaJoie elite earlier tonight. Is Corey LaJoie elite? I don't know if I'd go that far. When you say elite, I'm thinking like top 5, top 6. I'm thinking like upper echelon of drivers. I don't know if I'd go that far, but Corey LaJoie, before he got into Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup, where he's really never run in competitive equipment, LaJoie was tearing it up in the lower ranks. In 2012, he won 5 out of the 14 ARCA East races. Then it was called K&N East. He finished second in the points to Kyle Larson, but he beat Brett Moffitt, Chase Elliott, and Bubba Wallace that year, driving for his dad, driving Randy LaJoie owned cars. LaJoie went off in 2012, and in 2013, in a part-time basis, he won 3 out of 5 ARCA Menards races he started that year. 3 for 5, and that's the main ARCA series we're talking about. Unfortunately, ever since then, it's been a struggle for Corey LaJoie. Ever since he got into Trucks, Xfinity, or Cup, he's never been in competitive equipment. He's often not even been full-time. It's been a struggle, scrapping together deals here and there, trying to scrap together some good performances from time to time, but now, for the first time in Corey LaJoie's career, he will have a stable Cup Series job next year, and he's likely going to be driving the best race car he has ever driven. Keep in mind, Corey LaJoie is 29 years old. He'll be 29 when next year starts. That's not young. That's not, up-and-coming young prospect who might race for 25 years, but that is certainly not old. Corey LaJoie realistically could race another 10 to 15 years and still be considered in his prime for most of that. So if things go well, Corey LaJoie could become the Spire Motorsports guy for 10, 15 years to come. He could leverage this into a position elsewhere. Corey LaJoie, if this deal works out, in the short term at least, could be here to stay. And that's not something I think Corey LaJoie even would have thought likely a couple of years ago when he was just bouncing between part-time rides. So a pretty big step forward for Corey LaJoie. I'm excited. I'm a Corey LaJoie fan. I'm excited to see what he can do next year. I love seeing more somewhat competitive race teams in the NASCAR Cup Series, so that has me really excited for next year. Still don't know who that second driver will be, or if it'll be a part-time car, a car for the revolving door of drivers. We don't know what's going on with the 77, but I like that they brought the 7 car back, a really cool tribute to Alan Kulwicki and Jeff Bodine. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Thank you all for watching. Let me know down in the comments how you think Corey LaJoie is going to do next year in the 7 car. Be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel. And of course, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. More to come this week. It's been a busy Monday, but I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all very, very soon.